Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Today we're going to cover another one of these oh, I don't want to date you because you're fat type of things. This is a girl rejected somebody because they were fat. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to look at it from the other way and just see some of the comments and share my thoughts on it. Okay, let's read the post. Love getting told by a girl she's canceling our date because she found my Twitter and is, quote, uncomfortable how much I don't take care of myself, unquote. Love not being skinny or curvy or buff, just fat, TM, and how that means I don't deserve anything good that I want, but if I bitch about it too much or let it affect me, then that's also a major turnoff to people. So I just need to be a good punching bag and keep quiet all the time. I'm going to okay. What I will say to this so far is it's okay to be salty about being canceled on. I don't know about going on a post and doing all that and having a public moment over it. I don't know about that. That I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily the best idea, but I definitely would understand calling a friend, venting about it, getting pissed. I understand that. I think most people can. It's frustrating. Rejection sucks for whatever reason, I'm sure you'd love to know, but there are so many reasons people get rejected, and a lot of them don't even have to do with being fat or not. But I think the phrasing of it is kind of interesting. Uncomfortable how much I don't take care of myself. I'm that's one way to say it. But I mean, what else are you going to say? So I don't know. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know how to handle things like this. I'm probably not the one you should ask. So, but I would just, yeah. Anyways, I think that this part, sorry, I'm just I don't know. I'm just very much no. I'm a no girly pop. It's really easy for me to say no. So I'm very introverted. It's a lot harder for me to say yes than to say no. It's so much easier for me to say no. So, I mean, you can always just say that, basically. Okay. So this part, love being skinny or curvy or buff, love not being skinny or curvy or buff, just fat. It just means that you just don't look that good, I guess. And how that means I don't deserve anything good that I want, but if I bitch about it too much or let it affect me, then that's also a major turnoff to people. So this part is a little bit fat acceptancy. There is this idea that confidence proves everything or confidence is everything, all that stuff. I don't know about that. I think it depends on the person that you're trying to date. I think it depends on the person that you're trying to attract. I think some people are attracted to confidence. Other people are attracted to humility. Other people are attracted to a combination of the two. Other people are people are attracted to different things. So I don't think I get very frustrated with online dating advice because it doesn't apply. You have to really look at who you're pursuing romantically and what you're into and who's into you and all these things. You have to consider all these things in dating. So I just get really frustrated when people give advice like that. But I think that that's where that came from. The other thing is I don't deserve anything good that I want. So this is weird because it's are you wanting somebody that maybe doesn't look the best too? Or are you wanting somebody that looks good yourself? I get very frustrated with rhetoric like this within the dating sphere because often people are shallow on both sides. So to me, I don't really shade anybody for being kind of shallow. I know I care about looks. I would never judge somebody else for caring about looks. I get it. I do. I understand. It is what it is. The thing about being fat, though, is you can change it. You can change your station in life. When it comes to that, it's totally attainable. So it is it's a little bit stupid to just complain about it online. I guess that's where I'm getting at all around. So let's continue to the next slide. It's really funny to me how so many of the people I know who say they want to get fat / love people love fat people don't actually date fat people. So I think that just has to do with the people that you're around. Like, I think, I've had plenty of friends who have said they wouldn't date a fat person. It depends on how, like, triggered you are about it. If you're fat and people can sense that you're, like, really sensitive about it, they're probably not going to be honest around you, or they're just not going to say it. I haven't really been that way in a long time. So I heard it all, basically. I would just hear everything, which I didn't really care that much. Because I just don't care. I don't know. It's like my friends and stuff, or people that I'm talking to. Like, I only care if I want to be with somebody and they don't want to be with me. I don't really care about if a friend doesn't want to be with a fat person. Like, I don't know. That's just a whole other thing that I just can't even with that. To me, it's just like, I only have so much time and attention to care about if somebody's attracted to somebody. I'm only going to care if the person that I'm interested in is interested in me, basically. And if they're not, then yes, it sucks. Then you move on, basically. Or you try to deal or whatever. I mean, you figure it out. But that's all, like, that all applies even if you're not fat. So it's like, you need to think, like, how do you handle rejection regardless? Okay, they don't actually date fat people, or if they do, it's acceptably chubby or curvy feminine fat people, not bricks. So again, I think that it's an aesthetic thing. It does matter in dating. And then they put the hashtag, I don't care if someone doesn't want to date me specifically, but like, you say you love fat bitches. The biggest person you're dating is what, 200 pounds at most? Or are they conventionally feminine, curvy? 200 is kind of a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it can be a lot if somebody is a woman. Like, 200 can be a little bit up there, for sure. I think if you're a man, 200, it can depend. It's not always bad. It just depends on how tall you are, basically. I mean, I think it does regardless how much muscle you have, etc. But it's like, yeah, I think most people, they would, if they're going to date somebody that's not super ripped or super in shape, they're probably going to want somebody who's a small fat person or in that category, or mid-size. That's going to be more typical. There are a lot of people who want somebody who's just dead ass in shape, period. Or they want somebody who's very thin, period. There are people like that. But yeah, I mean, your average person is probably going to want, like, most people they would want to date somebody who, like I said, is in like more of a small fat category or mid-size, or just thin, basically, or average. That's going to be your typical thing because, first of all, that's how most people are. So it's like, it's very easy to find, Second of all, I mean, there's lifestyle problems and stuff. Like, it gets to be beyond aesthetics once you get beyond small fat. It starts to become like, there's lifestyle problems. You can't breathe going up a flight of stairs. Like, there's just things like that. Once you get bigger than that, then you can really start to look at like, oh my gosh, like, you're not going to live that long. Like, it depends, or you get into FETISH territory where it becomes like a whole other world at that phase when you get really, really, really big. Like, I'm just saying. So let's see what people said in the comments. There's something so demented about people who expect others to cater to them sexually while having zero regard for how much they're turning the other person off or actively making them uncomfortable. Like this mentality of, I'm attracted to you and want sexual and romantic access to you, but I don't give a shit if you reciprocate or find me attractive because my desire matters more than your boundaries. Yeah. So I think this happens a lot in general. I think people are selfish. This is a form of selfishness, in my opinion. It's a lack of empathy. If that person is not attracted to you, you should care about that. You shouldn't just be like, oh, who cares? Like, you're not attracted to me, but I'm attracted to you. You shouldn't feel that way. You should respect that. You should care that the other person isn't into you. It's like you have to consider how the other person feels. And it's kind of sad that I have to literally say this. I feel like it should be obvious. But again, this is where we get into a lack of empathy sometimes, especially within the toxic ritualistic world. Some of that has to do with psychological reasons. Like you're just kind of, I don't want to say anything too mean, but we'll just say delusional. You're kind of delusional. Or it can be a physical problem, like you're developing hypothyroidism and it's starting to make you crazy in the head because of a physical issue. It's starting to affect your brain and you don't have as much empathy because you're in too much of a flight or fight mode. So you can't function that well. Either way, it's not attractive. People like empathy. People like it if you care about how they feel. That's kind of a typical thing in a romantic situation. Unless somebody specifically wants to be treated like crap, which that's not typical, in my opinion. Okay, there was one a while ago that said, quote, fat people are entitled to conventionally attractive partners. And like, okay, why aren't conventionally attractive people entitled to conventionally attractive partners? If fat is so sexy, why don't you want to date a fat person yourself? Period. I mean, that comment really says it all to me. I think that's very true. I would thumb it up if I was logged in or whatever. That's basically what I feel about it. It's like, there are sometimes people who are super attractive that they don't care as much about looks or they want something else, but you still have to offer something to somebody. You just do. I don't know. I don't know why that's so hard for some people to understand. I just don't. These are the kinds of people who believe that you shouldn't have boundaries or standards. If they give you their attention or time, you're supposed to be grateful that you're desirable. To deny them what they want is akin to abuse. Yeah, it's horrible. It's a horrible mindset. I don't care if somebody doesn't want to date me specifically. It sounds a lot like you do, and that's creepy. Also, LOL at 200 pounds at most, as if that isn't obese for anyone under 5'9". These people are positively delusional. I agree with that. If somebody was like, I want to date somebody who's at most 200 pounds, that's kind of like a decent standard. That's not anything unattainable. I'll put it to you that way. And a lot of times people that get salty about dating, it's like, honey, you can want whatever you want. Can you get what you want? That's the other question. Somebody who has a standard of I want somebody who's 200 pounds at most, that is a very wide standard. They're going to be able to find that. Absolutely. Especially if you're talking about people who are on the shorter side, you're definitely going to find it. It's not hard. It's like hay in a haystack. It's easy. So it's like, I agree. That is delusional. No one is entitled to love or sex from anyone. Everyone is entitled to have preferences and set boundaries for their dating partners. True. Oh my gosh. People don't want to date bricks. No way. Oh my gosh. Sounds like the girl didn't have a problem with the weight or looks, but with the personality and the behavior she discovered on Twitter. Could be true. To be fair, OOP does mention the girl being turned off by their hygiene specifically. Ooh. But even then, I can't say I blame her. People are allowed to have appearance-based turnoffs, and I don't think that that's always an inherently hateful or cruel thing, despite what a lot of people online say. I don't think it is either. I agree with that. That is scarring. Imagine someone else's standards or boundaries somehow equal you deserve nothing good that you want. Yeah. Imagine thinking that you deserve sex from people at the cost of their own boundaries. Imagine referring to yourself as a brick and then thinking people should find you attractive anyway. You're not entitled to anyone dating you or finding you attractive. It also doesn't make you a victim when you're rejected. Good for that girl for having standards and sticking to them. May she continue to weed out the entitled incels. Gosh, I don't even know. Like, I do have a different perspective now because I've lost a lot of weight, and it's like, when you're not in the toxic ritualistic, it's a very straight line. It's kind of like, okay, this is an issue I have. Let me just get out of being fat. It's like, okay, problem solved, mystery solved. It isn't a big deal. It's kind of simple. If you have all that toxic ritualistic stuff going on, honey, it's going to cause a lot more problems than just your appearance. And I would suggest getting out of that before dating if you can, because you may not be looking at things clearly depending on how severe it is, and you may not choose correctly. I'm just saying, remember that issue is rooted in, I don't know how to say it, but we'll just say not liking yourself. So it's not always just the behaviors around consumption. It can be other aspects too. You can use other things to get back at yourself, including choosing somebody that isn't good. So I'm just saying, that's some advice. Take it for what you will. Don't, whatever. It's your life. But that's something I wish I knew, because I'm telling you. Okay. I can't even fathom aggressively pursuing someone who finds me actively undesirable or repulsive, which makes this so much weirder. That too. I can't either. I'm a Leo. I don't get it. If you're boring me, if you're not doing anything, I'm not going to like you. There has to be something going on. Something. Otherwise, I'm just like, okay. How do you see someone actively repulsed by your general appearance and hygiene and instead see it as being wrongfully denied something versus having any shred of embarrassment or shame? Yeah, I don't know. Just fat and how that means I don't deserve anything good. Deserve. You admit that you think you deserve, what, from other people, even when it's at the expense of other people's boundaries, standards, and personal comfort, and you consider, and you yourself contribute very little to the other person's satisfaction or desire. You admit it. You agree. So many of the people I know don't actually date fat people. I didn't realize there was a morality quota where other people had to specifically prove their genuine allyship through dating. I don't care if someone doesn't want to date me specifically, then why do you have multiple posts specifically venting and complaining about lack of sex in dates? It's almost like obesity is a biological indicator for an incompatible partner. I wouldn't date an obese person. How am I supposed to expect any respect from them if they can't even respect themselves? Gosh, see, I don't know about that. I just find that to be too weird. It's okay to just say I'm not attracted. But I've always talked about this too. It can be shades of gray. There are people who specifically want somebody in shape, period, like I told you. And if that's a deal breaker, then that's a deal breaker. But there are also people who it's like, if you ask them, oh, do I want to date a fat person? And they're just like, oh my gosh, no. Because they think of somebody that's totally unattractive. But then they meet somebody who maybe is attractive and maybe they're on the bigger side or whatever, right? Or they're not super big or whatever. It's a gray area. I get it, So to me, it's like, I don't know. Like if somebody had everything else that you were looking for, but they were kind of chubby, would you be done? Like I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Not me personally, I wouldn't. I already told you guys though, I wouldn't date somebody morbid or super morbid because it's just too much. It's too much to get out, and I had to go through it myself, and I'm not doing it again. So I'm not. Like, it's a lot. And I feel like when you're dating somebody, it's just, you're really like a part of it, the experience. Like it's tough. It's a lot. But yeah, that's just me. Like I said, it's not like, I don't feel like I have to date somebody who has abs. Like abs are nice. Abs are great. I'm never going to be like, abs aren't anything. No, they're great. But it's like if somebody had everything I was looking for, but they were kind of chubby, then I wouldn't necessarily say that's a big deal breaker for me personally. And also things can change too, you know? So I don't know. It's just kind of nuanced. I feel like I'm getting a little too in the weeds there, but I just don't really like that take personally. I just don't, because you don't know if somebody respects themselves or not. Like, that's kind of too much. I'm saying this as a formerly obese person. I did not respect my body and the foods I put in it. I wasn't surprised that my dating pool was limited. So yeah, I don't know, like, it's fine to have that feeling. I don't care. Like I said, I'm not coming after this person and like, oh my gosh, how dare you say that? I just don't agree with it. That's all. Because just because you did it doesn't mean that nobody does at all. Like, it's just, you have to be a little careful with that, is what I'm trying to say. For the majority of women, 200 pounds is very fat. It's on the bigger side for sure. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily like super morbid. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like very, very, very big, but it is not thin at all for most women. You know what I'm saying? Like, it isn't. So I get it. If people are like, they set a limit there. It's like, honey, that's a pretty wide range, you know? You're bitching about someone on the internet who you don't know and rejected you. That says more about you than them being honest. Just let it go. Most people want a partner that takes care of themselves, like not being seriously fat. I mean, like eating a healthy diet and being reasonably okay mentally, being well-groomed, not an obnoxious jerk. Agree. This is true. Definitely helps your dating pool. Playing victim, saying you're a punching bag and need to stay quiet. Yeah, okay. They said not to a date. You didn't know them well in the first place. It's not your best friend ditching you forever. And also, playing the victim isn't attractive to anyone, I hope. Plus, they didn't attack you in any way. True. I bet they went off on an FA tangent to deflect their weight, and the other person went, nope, they are not sane, annoying, / whatever. That could be the case too. If you want to be fat, but everyone has traits that are deal breakers, even thin people. This person wasn't the one, or even someone to try to start a relationship with. OP was actually saved from a lot of pain that would happen eventually. Okay, I'm rambling now, but nobody deserves love, affection, blank from anyone else. That's creepy and sick. That seems like they want to bypass consent and force stuff. You earn love, respect, all that jazz. It's not automatic. Yeah. I would agree. Overwhelming majority of American women are obese at 200. It's true. Definitely true. It is on the bigger side. Okay. So I think we'll leave it there, I guess. You know what? Actually, I want to keep going. No, I think that's pretty good. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think. I know this topic is always interesting. I just kind of wanted to give another perspective on it. I haven't talked about something like this in a long time, and in case my views on it changed, you know, they may not have, but that's okay too. It's okay if they change. It's okay if it didn't. But I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace.